Welcome back to Professional English Baku. I'm Steve, and today we're going to be talking about prepositions, what I like to refer to as a very long P word. Prepositions can be tricky, because they can be a little bit confusing until you really get to know them. So let's go ahead and get started right into this. Let me make myself right about there. There we go. So, prepositions are words or group of words used before a noun, pronoun, or noun phrase to show direction, time, place, and location. Prepositions help the reader-listener understand the action which is occurring in the sentence. So what that means is, if you have verbs, nouns, you have your subject, your object, it's the preposition which provides the link from the verb to the noun. So you understand what the subject is doing, where, how, or not how, but where, when, so that it gives you some time-space understanding. Some prepositions are obvious and make sense, while others make no sense unless you're familiar with them. For example, what we have here is a sensible preposition example. The propeller shaft broke at the propeller. Broke is the verb, and identifying where a break occurs is a common use for broke. So the preposition would be locational. At. The propeller shaft broke, verb being broke, and broke where? At the propeller. So at is giving the location of the break. That makes sense. That one's pretty easy to figure out. The next one, using the same verb, broke, and this is a nonsensible preposition example. Anar and Savinj broke up. Yeah. See, that makes no sense, right? Unless you know exactly this phrase, the preposition and the verb together make no sense. Because up is a direction, and broke would typically, the verb would result in a location preposition. So, broke is the verb, but the preposition is not locational, it's directional. So it only makes sense if you know. So broke up means to separate as a couple. That particular example is a nonsensible preposition. Unless you know it, you will not understand it. It's not like this. The propeller shaft broke at, because the verb break is always going to be in relationship to a location in its typical sense. Here, it's in reference to a direction. So I just list these as some prepositions. A vast majority of prepositions are going to be fairly simple to understand. And as you're learning the prepositions, you'll be able to plug them in with the right verbs depending on the definition of the preposition. For the sensible use of prepositions, there are two exercises which people have to practice continually. If you really want to understand prepositions, you absolutely have to practice, and you have to do these two exercises. Number one, memorize the most commonly used prepositions and their meanings. And number two, read a large variety of challenging books to see how the prepositions are used. Both of these take time. That's why people don't like prepositions, because it takes a lot of time. It takes time and effort and focus to memorize the 100 to 150 primary prepositions, the most commonly used prepositions. It takes time, 100 to 150 of them, that you have to memorize. But the only way you're going to get it done is by starting. Second, reading a large variety of books, large variety of challenging books, not just picking any book that you think is going to be easy to read or you might enjoy. Pick a book that looks like it's going to be very difficult to read. I suggest fantasy novels. I have found fantasy novels to be the most difficult books to read. If you want challenging books, Stephen King books are extremely challenging books to read as well. So no matter which books you choose, though, you have to read. You have to see how the prepositions are used. And that's what's going to start building that connection inside your brain to let you know this is how it must be. So to further that effort, that's basically the lesson. The lesson for prepositions is you have to memorize the most commonly used prepositions, and you have to read a lot so that you can understand and see and continually reinforce how the prepositions are used. Now we're going to get into the list of prepositions beginning with the letter A. So this is a great time to start memorizing your prepositions, because I'm going to give you the list of all the prepositions that begin with the letter A, and I will make subsequent videos that continue on through the alphabet until we get all of the prepositions listed. So go ahead and start with this list. I think there's only somewhere around 10 of them, so it should take you 1 or 2 days to get these memorized. So starting right off, aboard. Aboard. Aboard is a location. And it is typically referring to a ship, train, or aircraft. He came aboard our yacht with excitement. Aboard is a location preposition. About. About. It is also a location preposition and is typically referring to the general vicinity. He is wandering about and will return soon. Which it means he's wandering around in the general vicinity, right? Wandering about. Above. It is location and is referring to an item's position being higher than something else. The sun was barely above the horizon when I woke up. The sun is above the horizon. That means in location, it's above the horizon. Absent. It is a place or an existence, meaning without. Orange juice is a tequila sunrise absent the tequila. Orange juice is a tequila sunrise absent the tequila. You can see absent means without or not having. Orange juice is a tequila sunrise without the tequila. Orange juice is a tequila sunrise and it does not have tequila. Absent is a place meaning without. across. Also, location, meaning the other side of. I looked across the table at the young man. I looked across the table at the young man. So, where is the young man? He's on the opposite side of the table from me. He's across the table. After. It's time, meaning the latter in a series. My salad came after my main course. My salad came after my main course. After means it came later. Against, again a location, and it means physically touching. The chair was leaning against the wall. Where was it? Against the wall. Along. It's direction, meaning in the same direction. He was riding along the trail. Along. Alongside. It's a location, meaning next to. The captain brought his ship alongside the dock. The captain brought his ship where? Alongside the dock. Amid. Location, meaning in the middle of. He was dancing amid the thorn bushes. He was dancing where? Amid the thorn bushes. He was dancing in the middle of the thorn bushes. Among. Its location also, meaning inside of a grouping. The king walked among the commoners on his birthday. Where did the king walk? Among the commoners. Amongst. Amongst means the same thing as among. Amongst is just an older version of among. So you can use those two interchangeably, so I will not go through that one separately. Anti. Anti is a direction, meaning opposed to or against. He was driving anti-traffic in the traffic circle. He was driving against traffic in the traffic circle. Let me go ahead and underline that one for us. Okay. Anti, meaning opposed to or against. He was driving anti-traffic in the traffic circle. Around. It is a direction, meaning in a circle or in no particular direction. He was just walking around without a care in the world. He was just walking around without a care in the world. In this case, walking around means going no particular direction. You could also say he was walking around the store. He was walking around the store. In that case, it means that he is walking, taking a tour. So it may not be it could be in a particular direction, but it is in a circle-like direction. As. This one's tricky. As and for are probably the two most difficult prepositions. And the reason being is they can be a conjunction, adverb, or a preposition. But as a preposition, it refers to time in a very specific manner, meaning there's really only one instance that you're going to use as a preposition. He was undisciplined as a child. When was he undisciplined? In childhood. So for it to work as a preposition, as must answer the question when. He was undisciplined when? As a child, in his childhood. So that one's tricky. Very seldom are you actually going to use as a preposition. But there are instances where you could, and it's nice to know. At. At is a direction preposition, taking an action towards a particular object. He drove at the wall to avoid hitting the pedestrian. He drove in which direction? At the wall. Also, at can be time and location prepositions. And it means to be somewhere specific or at a specific time. I will meet you at 1500 at the mall. So I will meet you at a specific time at a specific place. So at can be used as a preposition for direction, location, and time. Okay, so that is all of the A's. That is all of the A prepositions. I'm not sure how many there were. There's probably somewhere around 10. So what I ask you to do is rewind, go back, and pause, hit play again, pause after the first one, practice the first one. Keep repeating it. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. If you need to, write it down. Whatever it takes, memorize it. Prepositions, the only way you're going to get good at them is to memorize them. Put them in there, keep them there. That's the most common ones. And just do that down that entire list. Once you have one memorized, hit play, pause at the next one, memorize that one. Okay. And then, after you get those memorized, read a book. Okay? Read a book. That's the only way you're going to get really, really comfortable with prepositions. Read, 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 read. You have to read a lot. And like I said at the beginning of this video, read books that are challenging. Challenge your brain. If you challenge your brain with the material that you're reading, it's already open and ready to be learning new information. So read the book and pick an old book, go buy a used book, whatever. Mark it. Mark every preposition in the text. Or you can download a book, or you can, whatever. Just get a book and mark every preposition in the text. Every preposition that you come to, underline it, highlight it, however, mark it. So that you can identify what the prepositions are. If you're unfamiliar with the preposition, then look it up in the dictionary. Just type the word online, define at, and it'll bring up the definition for you. Okay, So that's the two big things. You say you're serious about learning prepositions, you got to memorize the most common, and then you have to read, and identify the prepositions that are used in what you're reading. Okay? That should take you 5 minutes. Go ahead and do that. Come back. Just kidding. It's going to take you a long time. It's not something you're going to sit down and do all in one night. It's going to take you a long time to get comfortable identifying prepositions. But the good news is, once you get, it'll just get to this point where you don't even think about prepositions anymore. You just use them naturally. And to help out even a little bit more, I've put an additional exercise, some practice. So what I ask you to do, this is for the verb bring, as you just go through each one of these and determine which of the prepositions should go into the empty blank. There's 5 for bring, and there's 5 for take. So again, I'll leave it here. Give you enough time to hit pause, play again, come here, hit pause, do it, hit play again. Okay, so that wraps up today's lesson. And again, thank you so much for tagging along with me. I hope this is doing you some good. Prepositions are difficult. They're the easiest words in the English language, but they're used so frequently, and they're so key to understanding the sentence. They're the glue that keeps the sentence together. So, study this, okay? Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments. This particular subject, I got from a comment that was left today saying, hey, can you go through prepositions? Sure I can. I'll do that. So that's what I'm doing. If you have something you want to see, something you say, okay, well, I need to know more information about X, whatever it is in the English language, shoot me off a comment on here. Shoot it off on this video and let me know what you're thinking. Also, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and if you know someone that could benefit from these, please share it with them. Okay? All right. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.